Hey guys, welcome to another video. Sorry I haven't uploaded. I have had faced some injuries recently, so just make sure you please share and like this video to all your friends. Every like pays for one of my many medical bills. It's just been really rough out here with all of these different injuries. Except guess what? I'm actually not injured at all. This is just a t-shirt. Yeah, that's right. You fell for my little ruse, didn't you? I was merely imitating my injuries in order to gain sympathy so you would then like and share the video. And it's too late now. You've already liked, you've already shared. I win. Yeah, I've completely gamed the system. And I don't regret a thing. Now, I love the internet. Not because it has the ability to bring people together. Not because of its extensive collection of online media. No, not because it's the largest resource of information in the world. No. The reason I love the internet so much is the bullshit, toxic, hateful drama. Whenever I see a comment section filled with arguments, misinformation, just people typing to one another, and yet somehow it feels like they're just trying to scream the loudest. Now, I don't know how you can scream the loudest when you're typing in like a really structured format, but somehow they make it work, and it's the best part of my day. Because people will say and share some of the dumbest stuff that could ever exist, and it's all thanks to the internet. The internet. No fact-checking required. For example, just a couple weeks ago, there was this post floating around in Australia about coronavirus, claiming that all these different food products were infected and you shouldn't buy any of these food products, and these train stations have been tested and they hold traces of the coronavirus. And people were spreading it all over the internet as if it was gospel. Now here's the post. And if the fact that it was clearly written up inside Snapchat wasn't the first clue to you that this probably isn't the most reliable source, or even the fact that the post is about coronavirus, but they couldn't even correctly write coronavirus, then perhaps 2 seconds of research would have shown to you that the Bureau of Diseaseology is in fact not a real thing at all. But while I'm sure I could do a video on how easy it is to check if a post you're about to share is bullshit, that will not be the focus of today's video. Today, I want to talk about Jameela Jamil. Let me just check I'm saying that name correctly. Jameela Jamil. That should be fine. Everybody say Jameela Jamil. Today, I want to talk about Jameela Jamil. Now, Jamil is best known for her role as Tahani on the ever-popular TV show The Good Place, which I believe just finished its final season. But she's also a lot more than just Tahani from The Good Place. She's actually very active in the activist community, where she tries her best to use all of that nice privilege and wealth that she's gained from her successful career to help others. Particularly, she does a lot of stuff around body neutrality, which is sort of just a movement around just not having to think so much about like your body and how you look and all that kind of stuff. And it's a real positive movement that she's kind of trying to kick off. And whether or not you agree with all these different activism points she's making and trying to do, it's clear that she is trying to take steps to help people. She's trying the best she can, and there's large groups of people that really resonate with that and really love all the work she's doing and all the activist works and charity work she does. And I find that quite admirable. And if you disagree, well, you're in luck, because welcome to the internet, where everyone gets to be mad at everything that they disagree with. And I love every minute of it. For some reason, she seems to be constantly under heat for everything she does. And whenever she does anything, people will find a way to accuse her for being a piece of shit. Now, my main theory as to why everyone wants to destroy her is because she's extremely beautiful, extremely successful, and therefore must be torn down. Is that a lawnmower? What are you doing? You don't even live there, mate. Yeah, great. It's not the lawnmower right as I do the video. That's fine. It's just fine. It just might be a lawnmower in the background. Now, she was basically forced to come out as queer because of the amount of heat she was getting for being a judge on this upcoming voguing TV show. From what I can gather, voguing seems to be this like highly stylized type of dance. Seems to have a big queer following and influence and community around it. And therefore, certain people seem to believe that she isn't qualified to be judging in this space because she isn't really immersed in that scene. And she should be giving it up to someone who is a bit more involved in that space. Personally, I disagree. I think bringing in someone with such a following onto a show like this, someone with a following of people who would be interested in a show like this, having her on board should really just bring more success to the show. And then ideally, there's more success to the show. There's going to be more interest in that whole space. And then, there's going to be more opportunities for everyone in that space. Having someone on the judge panel that isn't as immersed in the scene should kind of create this point of accessibility for people like me who don't really know much about voguing, but might have like some interest in figuring it out, but can feel a bit intimidated by the gatekeeper mentality of certain individuals in that community. I think it's a great idea to have her on board, and I think she should be in a role like that, and I think it should bring good attention to the show, which is what you would want if you really want this whole industry or type of dance to succeed and like find a bigger audience. Since that controversy, however, since really only wrapped up like 6 days ago, there's been a new controversy brought into light, and that's what I want to focus on today. I've poetically named it B-Gate. Now, this is hot off the heels of everyone claiming that she is in fact not queer after coming out as queer, and that she's only claiming to be queer to get some of the heat off her for all the drama around her being on this new show. Some even claiming that she's not queer because she has a long-term male partner, as if bisexuals and pansexuals don't exist, and that you can only be queer if you're not dating someone of the opposite sex. So the new big drama in Jameel's life seems to be that people are claiming that she has Munchausen syndrome. Munchausen. Let's just say Munchausen. How's Munchausen sound? Which simply put is this mental illness that causes you to claim that you're sick or act like you're sick in order to gain attention. That's really simplified. It's a bit more than that, but basically that's what people are claiming. And it seems that the main reason people are believing this are from these 4 separate incidents that I've identified: the car accident, the Cookie Concussion, the allergies, and the bees. So I'm going to be diving into each one of these incidents to see if we can find any truth to these claims. So the first piece of evidence that have people believing that Jamil might be full of shit is that she's been recounting stories of a car accident, except each time she talks about the car accident, there's some like different variants involved and it's not quite the same story. So why are there these inconsistencies when she's talking about these stories of her car accident? Well, it makes a lot more sense that there are inconsistencies in the story when you consider the fact that she's actually telling 2 different stories of 2 different incidents and not the same incident in different ways. Okay, so all that car stuff's pretty easily resolved, but I also want to touch on this other note that they were making about her during this Ollie Murs interview where she falls over and hurts herself. And after it happened, and she was just like walking around and behaving fine and everything seemed fine, and I guess she was like a bit sore, but apparently she'd actually like broken her elbow and was concussed. So people are being like, well, wait a sec, if you were so injured, how are you performing so well on the day? Now, normally when we hear stories about actors hurting themselves on set and then continue working, they're praised as masters of the craft. We had Viggo Mortensen in Lord of the Rings when he kicked that helmet and he broke his toe and it was so emotional. Everyone's like, wow, that's awesome, he broke his toe and he's such a good actor. Or when Tom Cruise hurts himself doing his stunts and then everyone's like, oh, but he kept working even though he like broke his ankle. That's pretty impressive stuff. And it's a little different because he's like doing stunts in action scenes and hurting himself, creating something instead of just hurting themselves and then continuing filming. But still, it's like these people are injured, but then they continue work. That's the valiant effort. But Jamil hurts herself and then continues working. Everyone thinks she's a filthy liar and there's no chance that you actually just injured yourself and kept working. But I mean, adrenaline will totally carry you through those injuries. Have you people injured yourself before? You don't immediately feel so terrible for every injury. Usually, the worst part of the injury is like the day after or a couple days after. Once that adrenaline wears off and your body starts healing, that's when you really start feeling those injuries. So it's totally believable that she didn't feel the full extent of the injuries that she'd received immediately after she'd received them. Really though, I think we should be impressed with her efforts, not claiming that she's a liar. So this next one seems to just be based around some clickbaity article. It was pretty easily resolved, but I just want to show you this exchange in particular because it was just hilarious. So here's someone commenting on the thread of Jamil's original post about this whole syndrome fiasco that's going on in her life, because they think they've cracked the case. They found something a little fishy. This article that was posted with a very clickbaity headline that really draws you in and doesn't really make much sense. Of course, she didn't get seizures because she ate a cookie off the floor. That doesn't make any sense, right? This guy agrees. He thinks he's really cracked the case open on this one. Crazily though, Jamil actually responded to this comment, explaining that it's just bullshit and that this is actually not what happened. What actually happened was she hit her head reaching down for a cookie. It's a little funny story, a little funny anecdote about how her greed for this cookie on the ground caused her to bang her head, get a concussion, which then made her like more prone to seizures temporarily. And so that pretty much clears it up, and it totally makes sense. And it's like, great, okay, that's resolved. But then the original person replies to her comment saying this. It's insane. Did I ask, mind your business? Firstly, it kind of did seem like you're asking because you commented on her feed something about her, thinking that something was pretty suspect about something you read about her. It seems like you want to get to the bottom of this, right? But secondly, mind your business. This is literally her business. Never have I seen someone use mind your business against someone defending information regarding themselves. And the person who said mind your business is someone who's in fact not minding their own business, but getting into somebody else's business. So this is just a whirlwind, a roller coaster of emotions. And it's the perfect example of why I love the internet so damn much. Okay, now this next one did throw me through a bit of a loop because it does seem like a pretty damning piece of evidence against her being a liar. Basically, she's made claims multiple times about different allergies she's experienced throughout her life. Some allergies she's claimed she had since birth. Other allergies she says that she kind of developed.
I was born allergic to shellfish and peanuts.
Which, you know, is completely believable, except there was one bit in particular that people got a bit sus about. She claimed she had a peanut allergy, but then later she posted to her story this snack that she was enjoying, which was a peanut-based snack. It was like a peanut butter cookie or something like that. So the main ingredient was peanut butter, and it had peanuts in it. So if she's allergic to peanuts, why is she eating this peanut butter food? And at this point I'm thinking, yeah, maybe she is lying about this one. You know, it's not unbelievable that maybe there's a few lies that get through the cracks. She's not infallible. She's not the perfect person ever. You know, she's trying to do a lot of good, but maybe she was lying about this one. Now, she did respond to these claims about the amount of allergies she has, saying that it was based on she got mercury poisoning from fillings she had, but the peanut allergy she claimed she had from birth. So that doesn't really resolve that particular argument. But yeah, she was claiming that the mercury poisoning she developed from the fillings kind of messed with her stomach lining, and so she was just more prone to allergic reactions. Now, there's a lot of scientific evidence suggesting that you don't actually get mercury poisoning from fillings. I wouldn't say it's impossible. She had 11 fillings, so I don't think it's impossible that she did get mercury poisoning, and that probably did mess with her stomach for years. Ultimately, though, I just think the best defense against this particular argument is allergies are weird. People hear that she has a peanut allergy and they think, oh, she must die whenever she touches a peanut. That's what we're all raised to believe. You can't bring peanut butter sandwiches to school anymore because someone's gonna die when they touch a peanut. But that's like the most severe reaction to peanuts. All an allergy is your body like reacting to a foreign substance in a way that it shouldn't be. It's a completely harmless thing like a peanut, but your body freaks out and then it thinks it has to protect its body against this peanut, but actually it's fine. And there's different levels of severity of how much your body is going to be affected based on that. Some people have a lot worse reactions to peanuts or other foods. Some people don't have that bad of a reaction.
Michael, the last time I was exposed to a peanut, I was itchy for 3 days, okay?
Wait, so you don't go into like shock or die or anything?
No, Jim. Not everything's life and death. I want to feel comfortable.
I don't think she ever claimed she was going to die if she ate a peanut. Not to mention the fact that a lot of people outgrow allergies. So her potentially outgrowing certain allergies on top of the fact that it just might not be as severe of a reaction as people believed themselves when they heard it. It seems totally believable that she just has these allergies. She has a bunch of allergies, and just like everyone has a bunch of allergies, it's totally fine and believable. And I don't think you need to think that she's some filthy liar just because she knows about a few allergies she has. Now, all you lactose intolerant people out there are happy to risk it for a piece of cheese, but when Jamil eats a peanut, everyone's freaking out. It seems that Jamil has not had very good experiences with bees in her life. She has various stories about getting in trouble with bees. In fact, one of the car accident stories starts with bees. She was running away from bees. That's how she ended up getting hit by a car. Now, I don't see how this links back to the syndrome, because the syndrome is about faking illness, and just being scared of bees doesn't really connect to that at all. But people are wondering about the bees, so this is my take on the bees. So the main example in question is an interview that she did with a guy called Mark Ronson. And this interview was taking place outside, and her side of the story is that they were doing the interview outside, and in the distance she saw this like cloud of bees heading towards them. It was like 500 bees, and they freaked out and they like ran inside, and they were hiding from the bees, and it was like this war zone. It was every man for himself, and it was crazy, and there was all these killer bees, and she was freaking out. But then later on we got Mark Ronson's side of the story, and apparently what he remembers, which he said he doesn't really remember this incident exactly, but what he remembers is he saw a couple of bees and he was like, oh, should we move inside? And they moved inside, and it was just like 2 bees. Now, my thoughts on this is she probably did exaggerate a bit, but I don't think it was on purpose. And I don't think it was to get more attention per se. I think this is sort of how she remembers it. It seems to me like she definitely has a phobia of bees. Whenever you see her talking about bees, it's always an awful experience. She definitely is terrified of bees. Whenever she sees any sort of bees, she freaks out. She does not like bees. Now, someone that has a phobia of bees, having an experience around bees, is going to be vastly different to someone having an experience around bees when they're not absolutely terrified of them. That's how the phobia works, is your brain is having this reaction, this irrational fear of this trivial thing. Or at least what most people would find trivial. And if 2 people recounted the same story, one person with a severe fear and anxiety around this situation and the other that wasn't that stressed at all, it's going to be a vastly different story of the exact same situation, because they had these vastly different personal experience. They had this vastly different personal feelings regarding that event. Sure, there might have only been a couple of bees, but maybe to her it felt like there was this swarm of bees coming for her, because she seems to be terrified of bees. Sure, this is speculation, but so is everything everyone else is saying, so let's jump on board, you know? I mean, that's not even mentioning the fact that she's in the spotlight. She has to come up with these exciting anecdotes to tell on TV shows, on late night talk shows. And you zhuzh up the story a little. You make it a little more interesting for TV. It's just a story. It's just to entertain people. I mean, you guys gonna go onto all these comedians' Twitter feeds and say, hey, that story you told, that joke you told the other day, that wasn't true. That didn't actually happen. Did it? No, who cares? It's just stories. It's just fun. Get over it. It's just a story about bees. It doesn't even link back to much. It's fine. It doesn't affect anybody. So ultimately, no. I don't think Jamil has this syndrome. I don't think that she's lying all the time and is this filthy piece of shit human. I don't think all these claims that are being made are bullshit. I think these are all legitimate things that have happened, and people are like twisting it into this weird narrative. I don't think she's manipulating people. I think, if anything, she's ultimately just trying to help other people and entertain. I don't even think she's playing the victim card, which a lot of people are also claiming against her. The victim card is reserved for people who do these terrible things and then ignore the criticism against them, don't, address it at all, and just complain about all the hate they're receiving based on all the terrible actions they did, which is not what she's doing at all. She's not really complaining that much about the hate. She's just saying it seems silly that all you people are coming after her for no reason. She's actually been a bit on the offense about it all, so that's definitely not very victim-y. She's not like retreating. I mean, she did take a break on Twitter after that last queer controversy that she had, but that's fine. She can take a break if she wants. She corrects all the misinformation and then she stops engaging with the trolls. I mean, that's not very victim-y at all. On one final note, let's just say that all these claims are lies. Let's just say that she was lying about the allergies and the car accident and it is all bullshit and she is making all these stories up. Who gives a shit? I don't see how any of these stories are affecting anyone, really. If your concern is that she's only using these stories to get more attention, you're just giving her way more attention by attacking her over these apparent lies. So if you think that she's lying to get more attention, so then you give her heaps of attention in order to counteract that, then what's your end game here? What's your goal? What's your motivation? You guys seem happy to separate the people from their work whenever there's actors going around raping little boys and shit like that. But when Jamil claims that she's eating some peanuts, you guys are freaking out. Like, how about you go out there and start tearing apart the lives of people that are actually ruining other people's lives and telling lies that are affecting all these other people, and lay off those that are actually, trying to do a little bit of good in the world, even if this good might not suit your personal agenda, like just let them. They're clearly helping people. People resonate with it. People like it. It might not personally resonate with you, but that doesn't mean it's not doing good to people. Ultimately, this particular story is just going to blow over in a couple of days, obviously. But I think it's kind of an example of a bigger picture on the internet where people will just jump on anything and happily spread any information and just roast anyone and just focus on all the wrong things and all the wrong people. And you'll just find reasons to tear down people that are like successful, but then using that success to actually help people. But then when there's people out there that are actually causing harm, you guys don't seem to speak up so much. So I guess really what I'm trying to say is mind your fucking business.